It's time for the losers bracket here at the Breakout Series Event number 3, presented by the Gundam Evolution New Type League. I am AGP Wonder Chef, joined once again by James Jamerson Lee, and we've got just a few matches left to see who will be in our top players for tomorrow.
Yeah, and we have already had some amazing matches, but I'm so glad that we get to see Tekka Dynasty again. This time around, they'll be facing off against Skill Issue in the lower bracket, and that means this is your final chance. You lose, and you go home.
Yeah, no Skill Issues here. But actually, I do need to talk about the fact that Skill Issue is a team that we've seen quite a few different versions of, and today is no exception. We've seen basically, we saw between, I think, 2 events ago and last event, or maybe it was 3 and then 2 ago, whatever it was, we saw an entirely full team shift. There was only about one person left on the team. And from the last time that we saw them, the last event to this one, we're seeing the exact same thing again. There are a lot of players that I'm not as familiar with on the team. I believe only one single player is actually remaining from their previous roster. So it'll be really interesting to see how this new-ish team plays together that has a familiar name overall. But they're going to be going up against Tekka Dynasty, who is a team that has just continued to get stronger and stronger. And with their roster changes this time around, I think are maybe even the strongest they've ever been.
Yeah, and now let's go ahead and take a look at the map picks and bans for this one. It's been very interesting so far with the latest patch, how players have been banning things out, because so far, some of our more popular maps of this season have been getting banned out. Colony Trading Post will be the first one to go.
When Harbor City as the second, that does make me think that they might be going for some of the domination maps. No, Corey as a first map. That is a pretty up-close map, though. And that is going to be a Tekka Dynasty pick off the bat. And then we are going to go to Mountain R&D Lab. Still just the most consistently picked map of this event. Probably going to stick that way overall, regardless of whether it gets picked or not again. But we're going to some closer range maps.
Yeah, overall, I love Mountain R&D because, you know, it is a little bit simpler to play when it comes down to basically the team play, right? There are very few places of engagement, unlike Thermal Plant, which has been banned out, where it's a lot more scrappy. There are a lot more angles for flankers to try and find. In Mountain R&D, you're going to have a lot more full 6v6s.
It's really, yeah, like a lane map, I think, is maybe what it could be called. But Underground Command Center will be the decider. We haven't seen a Game 3 yet so far, but Underground Command Center is definitely the widest open map of these 3, so we'll see if we get to that option or if we're going to get a lot of close range maps. Despite the fact that Quarry is a destruction map, that first point on it is just so it's so close range, right? You can play along the walls going up to the waypoint. You can play inside the B hallways, and you never really have to fight too long range until at least you get to that second point. And even then, it's more of a mid-range one. So we'll see if they can really take advantage of that, because we did see in the last set that Tekka Dynasty played, of course, it was the last set that we saw on stream, it was a lot more wide open. We had way more wide open maps. However, they might be going for a little bit more of a brawling strategy here. And again, against the new version of Skill Issue, the new Skill Issue, I genuinely have zero idea how this is going to go.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it, right? This is one of the maps where brawlers do tend to succeed a little bit better, but we haven't seen that much Barbados on the day. We saw it in our first match earlier, but then we kind of went back to just no brawlers, even no Exias. It's so interesting how in the span of 3 months, how quickly the meta shifts. I mean, we went from Exia being in every single match to Exia being out, and Barbados, now he was finding a small resurgence in our last 2 events, falling out of favor as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe it's just some unfortunate luck. Of course, you know, with unfortunate luck, Gasman, one of our signature Barbados players, had some technical issues and is on the roster and is there in chats. Shout outs to Gasman, but wasn't playing. Chaotic, another one that we usually see, is on a roster today, but wasn't in the actual game. So I'm not sure if they're actually here as well, but we'll see if we get any Barbados. This is definitely a Barbados map. Of course, we're going to get these players loaded into the game. So as we wait for them to get in, we're going to take our short break, but we're going to go right into game number 1 of our first losers bracket match of the day right after this.
don't wanna cry. Wanna cry.
Quarry will be our first map of the losers finals here. Sorry, not losers finals, the losers bracket match between Tekka Dynasty and Skill Issue. I'm jumping a little bit too far forward. We still got a few matches before losers finals, but it's time to see what this new Skill Issue can do and what we're going to see out of Tekka Dynasty in their second broadcast match in a row.
And we were wondering if we were going to see the Barbados. Chaotic is in the match for Tekka Dynasty. On the other side for Skill Issue, Mikazuki will also be popping that one off as well. The compositions aren't exactly the same though, as we do have a Gundam Unicorn, Turn A Gundams coming out for Skill Issue here on the defense.
Yeah, it is funny actually. I was like, yeah, Chaotic was on a roster, but it just hasn't played yet. And then immediately Chaotic comes in. So great to see that. Big Chaotic fan, of course. Now on the other side, Bonekel is the only player who's remaining from Skill Issue. Everybody else, I'm not as familiar with. I think I've seen Saint Michael play. Yeah, Saint Michael actually was there before, I think. Maybe they're just under a different name. But hey, the Guntank Woos, any 6 Guntank Woo, I gotta cheer for that. But here we go. Tekka Dynasty will be on the offense to begin with, and we'll see if now Dark Infester, their committed player on this Hyperion, will be able to help them push through.
Yeah, Chaotic. It's all going to come down to him. We'll see if he can go ahead and find the angle. Now, the interesting thing is that the high ground is actually available for Chaotic to try and get up there, but it doesn't even matter. That's going to be Red Protocol getting that first knock. There we go. Chaotic with the opening is in the back line with that Barbados right on top of him. Oh, if he could have taken out mid-air, swapped him down, never mind. He could continue to chase. Chaotic is straight on the Mega Charge plant as well.
Oh my gosh, Chaotic coming in hot. Like, it's like, oh yeah, we didn't get a chance to see much Barbados today. And Chaotic's like, hold up, I'll show you all the Barbados. I'll make up for it in the first push, the first life. That was incredible. And that wasn't even like single combos. That's the true strength of a good Barbados player, is playing when you're not just literally one-shotting people and then dying. If you can be consistent, which is exactly what Chaotic's doing, it's sick.
Surprisingly enough, they went for the plant onto A, where I think if you've got a Barbados player that's popping off, maybe you want to go ahead and plant around B, where you have a lot more high ground to play around, and forcing people into chokes. You got to be careful here. Skill Issue still need to try and get the defuse, but take a look at that. That's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. The overall overhead throw onto Chaotic to finish him off. The 1-for-1 isn't enough for them. Now they will try and get onto the point to try and defuse, but they are right into the shield. Mikazuki will end up finding one, but that is not going to be enough to try and get the Mega Charge disarm. And so now we're going to point the second half of the map. Red Protocol actually chasing after these staggers, and we'll be able to find them.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we're like 10 seconds into this match and we're already about to get a plant, or at least getting the waypoint at very minimum. I love that strategy that they took to try and use the shield of the Hyperion to try and like just protect somebody while they disarmed. But unfortunately, the I think it was the Methis was just slightly outside of the shield, and I can't even talk about that because we're already here with a brawl. No, fell down, got pushed back as the grab came out. Very unfortunate for RX Moon.
Oh man, things are looking really bad for Skill Issue as they end up losing out on 3. They only trade away for Dark and Fester there finally. Hawklight will go down, but the Make a Charge is getting planted down there on B site. This is where Chaotic needs to shine, but he ends up falling in that duel up against the enemy Barbados. Now he is extremely close to his G maneuver as Mikazuki ends up going down. Melee might be able to get the repair onto him, and they will get him up just in time, but that's still buying time for Chaotic. Now we've got the Ashmar punch to just even stop anyone from trying to go for that disarm.
Oof, yeah, the picks here are huge. This feels like this might be it. They need to regroup and get one more fight in. They've got the G maneuver, or they've got at least like 2 G maneuvers, right? They're not quite going to have enough time, I think, for the Screaming Nimbus, and that's a really unfortunate thing. But between the Barbados and the Ashmar G maneuvers, they're going to have a lot of lane clearing, and if they can clear out that little room of a lot of the defense, that's going to be their best option. However, can they even get there first is the main question. Oh, and that's going to be huge 3 from Dark and Fester, and that is such a huge delay. Somebody's on the disarm, but they just don't have many people. I assume that's gonna be it, and what a great Lancer there from Dark and Fester.
Ends up getting the triple, almost got a quad with that G maneuver as well. Dark and Fester really flexing his Hyperion play. And it came down to so many different players from Tekka Dynasty, honestly, having their own little moments to shine. We saw Chaotic there, creating some great openings. Red Protocol as well on that Ashmar. That was the initial pick that started the snowball here on the map.
I'm really loving the Hyperion play from Dark and Fester. I mean, you can just see the damage is really considerable. That was such a fast map that even the winning team didn't have very much damage. But Red Protocol and Dark and Fester leading the pack by quite a bit. But yeah, I'm loving this play. And I gotta shout it back again to Enders as well. Seeing these Pale Rider players switch over to the Hyperion is one of the coolest things for me. And it's clearly working out really, really well. You know, they're doing a ton of damage despite the fact that they're technically a tank. They're living longer. They've got the ability support. They've got those game-changing Lancer G maneuvers that we literally just saw win a game, or at least confirm the game. I'm digging this. This is such a cool meta.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are fairly self-reliant, right? Pale Rider has his healing pad, but on the other side, you've got the shield for Hyperion. So either way, they're very self-reliant and don't really need the team to peel for them. But when they do have the peel and they have the space, they can do a lot more. I feel like the difference is that when it comes to the Hyperion, because he can play a little bit more front line, he can actually play a little bit more aggressive than a Pale Rider would typically. Now, though, as we swap side, Skill Issue, they have an uphill struggle because there's 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the timing for Tekka Dynasty, so they need to be fast.
They need to be extremely fast. It looks like we're going to see a little bit of a push up from the turn A. I wonder if Chaotic's going to be defending. Yep, there we go. Chaotic just taking that leap into that little space, the little death box up there. And now nobody can push. That alongside the flame grenades are just go from Red Protocol. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to get into that spot. And even though there hasn't been that many full kills, just already stopping this momentum is huge because like you said, they have to go fast. Oh.
That's the 2-for-1 for Chaotic there. They will get another repair on to Moon. But man, he is an absolute shambles right now. They're going to go ahead and try to go back up, but you can see they're just having difficulty dealing with him. I mean, they need someone like the Ashmar to get up there, but you can see Chaotic somehow survives with about 50 HP and backs away, finally buying some space. But as soon as they actually get rid of him, they no longer end up holding the angle here. Finally, the duel ends up going in favor of Mikazuki, but it's still a 1-for-1 exchange. It is still offense sided. Of course, they'll have the respawn distances to be able to really play off of, but Skill Issue have not been able to push forward at all.
Even with that pick, that's tough. They just haven't been able to push past this classic little box area. But here we go. This is they're literally physically pushing in there. But look how much damage they took, especially from that flame. But just the combo of that and just a ton of shotgun shots coming out of Azor, just gonna shut down that push almost completely. Bonekel going down as well, trying to fly away. And this is not only basically a full team wipe, but a decent stagger as well. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. They're gonna have to spend at least about 20 seconds just waiting for those respawns before they even regroup, but they're pushing forward a little bit early.
And I love how they're playing this. Remember, back in the Pale Rider meta, Pale would usually play on the right-hand side to play off the health pack individually on the on the left side of the screen. But this time around, he's deathballing a little bit more, offering some support for his tank front line there. And they are finding it extremely difficult to deal with the double shield of the Sazabi along with that Hyperion. A robot finds another pick. That's going to be Mikazuki going down, allowing Chaotic to have so much more space, so much more presence here on the high ground. Dark and Fester with another pick as well. Now Skill Issue are just struggling like we've seen teams in the past with this waypoint.
The fact that they've already delayed this long is basically like not a game win, of course, but it's basically like a big win, a big moral victory. As far as just the advantage, no matter what happens, there's just going to be so much less time. Even if they just completely run through all the way here. Oh, the jump over into the punch along with the Screaming Nimbus. That's going to be a huge way to push in. Chaotic's going down off the bat, but what a counter. What a counter with the Lancer once again. MVP has got to be Dark and Fester right now.
And I love the G maneuver discipline coming out from Tekka Dynasty there. All they utilized was that Hyperion G maneuver, the Lancer, along with the energy cable. And so they are just cycling through their G maneuvers for this hold. They're going to have that Barbados G maneuver. They're going to have the Screaming Nimbus, the punch, along with the funnels. And honestly, if you cycle it well, that's 2 pushes, but at this point, Skill Issue might only have 1. There's a first pick off again from Chaotic, or onto Chaotic, but we saw TKD fight back in a 5v6 with their great G maneuver usage.
And we might see a jump over here into a slam. That would be really deadly. We haven't seen that attempted too many times so far, at least on stream. But there's just so many people hiding behind this box, and this is the perfect. Oh, wow, actually dodged that axe, I think. This is the perfect spot to get the jump over. That's why we're seeing a lot of people backing up here, because he will jump over. Not enough people to slam, but the counter G maneuver here, the Screaming Nimbus coming out of Hawklight, is going to stop that push at least decently. And there's only 27 seconds left. They need to not only get that waypoint, they need to get onto the point. Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was beautiful. He heard them getting into the back line. It was a miracle play that Mikazuki was trying to go for there on that Barbados. Try to get the plant, maybe pull them away, because they have not been able to crack the defenses of Tekka Dynasty. Now coming down to the final seconds. 7 seconds remaining, and Chaotic is going to finish it off in the flash. He's got his G mover down. Azor has his funnel as well. And this is the impenetrable wall of Tekka Dynasty, shutting down Skill Issue in map number 1.
They have already adapted so well to basically all of these changes. I need to remind people here, if you're not as familiar with Gundam Evolution, this new season started like 3 days ago, maybe not even 3 days ago, like 2 days ago, 2.5 days. And already these teams are adjusting so well to using Hyperion. Like I said, I said it had to be the MVP, but the game also thought that Dark Confessor was the MVP. The Hyperion changes, basically all the balance changes, right? On top of everything. And they're just so on point already. It's so sick to see.
The scary part is that, this is just the first half week of exploration with this unit, especially in a competitive setting. And so you have to imagine that we're basically here in terms of potential, and we're, we can have so much of a higher skill ceiling when it comes to that unit. So I'm really excited about what the future holds for that particular unit.
I know, I'm actually kind of scared with how well it's been working so far from the players that we've seen today, but we will probably get another game of Hyperion in map number 2 of this losers bracket set. Before we do that, of course, we're setting the players up, so we'll be right back with map number 2 right after this. Mountain R&D Lab will be map number 2 here in Tekka Dynasty versus Skill Issue. We went from a very pretty different map overall, so now it's time to see what they can do in the brawls.
Yeah, and I mean, when it came down to the Barbados versus Barbados, it wasn't a one-sided thing, right? Mikazuki was winning out some duels up against Chaotic, but it seems as we swap off onto Mountain R&D, we're going to see a few more flavors of what we got to see earlier out from Mafty. So Chaotic now swapping on over. He will be picking up the gym for his squad. And surprisingly enough, a robot, I don't know if he's going to stick with the gun tank instead of possibly being able to have the double flames. Never mind, Chaotic. Oh, Lord, exactly what we were saying. He's going to be swapping off. But we'll see if we get the Marsai play actually coming out from SI.
Oh, and it looks like we are. I'm super excited. The Marsai changes really, you know, you can't one-shot combo people, but you pull with a much lower cooldown and you push people now with your E. So that's a very interesting change, and immediately off the bat, we're going to see just trades into trades into trades, and the first combo going off from Niel on that Marsai. Love to see it.
Yeah, he doesn't have any heals there, though, so unfortunately he will go down. St. Michael, I believe, was one of the first picks. Tekka Dynasty ends up winning out on that fight, and as the point unlocks here on B, I'll be the first team to capture that one and accrue progress. Chaotic is able to chase down Mikazuki with the help of the rest of his squad. And now there we go. Cameraman struggling to catch up with them because he is all of the map back on point B right now as we have the push coming out from Skill Issue, but it is instantly shut down. Chaotic getting that finish off onto Bonekel.
The only person that can follow Chaotic is Chaotic. We need to get Chaotic on the cams for the next tournament. But that, yeah, is a huge pick, of course. You really need the full team versus team match here. Oh, the pull all the way up to the top layer. I mean, maybe not quite the middle level right there, but the lower cooldown means that you can go for those really big risky pulls without worrying too much. It's down to like a 7-second cooldown or something, and those pulls in the coordinated team are going to be death. It just doesn't quite get the one shot afterwards.
Someone from Skill Issue almost snuck away some percentage points, but it will all 100% go the way of Tekka Dynasty. Instant transfers coming out. Mikazuki ends up winning out the duel against Chaotic, even though he had that knowledge information. Red Protocol has to be careful, though, as he eats that Ashmar grenade, falls back, does have the shields as well. For Skill Issue, though, they haven't been able to full regroup and knock them out of that high ground quite yet. Dark Infestor does get knocked to the ground, but will survive for the time being. And there it is, Red Protocol with the punch and the setup. He sets up his own pins to knock them all down.
Oh my gosh, not a single one of those kills was from the punch. They were all post-punch. That was incredible. And I mean, that we talk about it so much, how good Ashmar is on this level, because again, you not only do you get the punch off, but it knocks them all into that wall and sees them, and then your team cleans up. Or, you know, maybe just you clean up if your name is Red Protocol.
Chaotic does get spotted out here. He does have that Barbados G maneuver ready, funnels along with the Screaming Nimbus, but a huge pick off. Chaotic falls. Once again, though, St. Michael, excuse me, is the first one to fall on the Skill Issue side, and that is not what you want to see. You need to keep your healers up. So that's going to be an unfortunate slowdown on the push for Skill Issue. Tekka Dynasty still maintaining position here over A, and it looks like they will get complete progress. We're going over to B once again. Chaotic is here in the back line.
Oh, just barely getting away as usual. Chaotic, one of the most slippery Barbados players that exists in these tournaments, for sure. Probably one of the slippiest Barbados players in the entire world. It's probably without a question. Now, there are a ton of G maneuvers up on both sides. We're about to have 6 G maneuvers up on the side of Tekka Dynasty, although it's about to be 5 because this one's getting a lot of mileage. That is a ton of damage to about 3 or 4 different suits. They weren't quite able to follow it up, but even if they make the backup, that is going to be a nice delay as the site's about to open up.
Yeah, but it's Hawklight, though, that's finding additional value after all of that. Will finally go down as Moon picks him off. Still, though, despite that, Tekka Dynasty have more members on the point until Mikazuki gets in, takes out Azor with the help of Elfu on that Dom Trooper. Butterfly being utilized here, though, to clean things up, and it was still Tekka Dynasty that ended up taking that point. And so now Skill Issue needs to clean up the remnants, but they're not able to. Red Protocol, a robot, they're both here to finish things off. We know how strong the Gundam Unicorn can be here on the lower level. As extra time ticks away, they just need to go ahead and finish off the last remaining members of Skill Issue. And it took a little bit of time to clean up, but it looks like they will be able to do so. Skill Issue ends up losing out on round number 1. Tekka Dynasty were made to work for it, though.
That felt like that was going to end like 30 seconds ago. They just kept jumping on points over and over and over, just barely extending that time. It was like, oh, it's done. Oh, it's done. Oh, it's done. Oh, it's not done. It's not done. But I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do to keep the game alive. And Skill Issue did a great job of that. But Tekka Dynasty now only needs one more round to advance in the losers bracket. And with the way they're playing, it's looking pretty assured. They had so many resources available at the end of that game. Oh my gosh, Red Protocol. Look at that damage. That's like double almost anybody else's damage. That is disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely insane what the Ashmars can do, and especially with how much space was created, right? He was not the one that's receiving the focus. I mean, so far, right, we're seeing Azor, of course, on the Sazabi being focused down. We're seeing Chaotic getting focused down as he's in the back line. And so that just allows him to get a lot more space and basically just do Ashmar stuff. I don't know if he's going to stick with this new, but if he does, I would be, excited to kind of see the exploration of it, but I fully expect him to swap off as the gate unlocks.
I expect that too, but I don't know. There's only 2 seconds left. This is actually a little bit scary. We are actually seeing the switch to the new Gundam. We've seen every suit but Mihiru today. There's only one left. If somebody plays Mihiru, we have literally seen them all. But this is super cool. I'm surprised it's such a switch when there was such a dominant match. And Hawklight's the first one to go down. So already Skill Impact fighting their way into this. But look how much they're bleeding. So much damage on every suit.
And really, that just kind of comes down to the difference in having that AoE. But despite all that, despite having, not really having the same kind of presence that you typically would, they do somehow wrench it away from Skill Issue. And point A unlocks, they will go ahead and take it. And we're not cursed with ACAC. We will be going back to B.
We got a lot of Bs this time around, actually. A little bit surprising, just with our strange curse of the ACAC curse. But right now, they've got to fight for A regardless. There's still tons of time left on it, and they are just getting AoE'd down so heavily down there. When you've got a team that has, Hawklight on it, and then actually, they got a little bit less AoE just because of the lack of the flame grenade with the switch from Red Protocol. But the rockets from a robot on the gun tank can do massive AoE damage too.
Yeah, and a lot of chip damage, right, with that gun tank as well. And he does have some tankiness to him with his abilities, but Skill Issue now try to push up again. This push is coming at such an awkward time. 8 seconds remaining. You might be able to get the team wipe, but you end up only getting like 2 or 3% if you win out the fight clean. They're not even able to do that. So Tekka Dynasty will get full percentage points. The repair as well coming out. No, it looks like he got sniped last second. So Red Protocol is going to have to take the walk of shame all the way to point B.
Yeah, that was a really heavy push. When I think that these teams, a lot of them are really used to it, but you just gotta really preemptively push towards the next point, especially on maps like this where it's so fast for the other team to do it. Niel just barely getting picked from the other side, and that's not going to be a full destroy too, so no chance at the repair. Right now, currently, the position is so good for Tekka Dynasty. Again, this is the final round that they need to move forward in the bracket, and Skill Issue just needs to hold on for dear life. They need to at least take a round right here, and then another round, and then game, and then, yeah, this is tough.
Oh boy, we got the Lancer online right now. No, you gotta be careful. Wait, never mind. It's Dark Infestor swapping on over to that Pale as Hawklight ends up cleaning one. It's a 2-for-2 exchange, though. Skill Issue still have some purchase on this fight, but you can see they're going to go ahead and back away from the Tekka Dynasty side. Here comes the flank out, and there it is. The home run from Mikazuki, swinging for the fences, picking off 2, but he hasn't finished them off quite yet. Dark Investor is back on the point. Finally, Skill Issue are able to get some progress. It's at 4%, but it's that's really all that they're going to be able to get here, as Tekka Dynasty now should be setting up for point A.
We'll see how many of them have actually rotated over. We do see, of course, the Ashmar flying over and immediately getting picked by Hawklight. Probably a laser out of the air is what I have to guess, at least for most of the damage. But Mikazuki below, that could be huge. This might come down to another duel. Although I don't know who's going to win that one. This has been pretty 50-50 here. Chaotic at least going to, bait the grab from Moon. That looked like maybe intentional. It was a pretty far away slam into a backdash immediately.
Yeah, every G maneuver sounds like it's getting popped, but we still have a few in the back as a robot does have his shuttle along with that chaotic Barbados G maneuver, but he's not even going to use it, as now they pushed forward off of that, and now he does get stunned up, but it does seem like he's going to be safe. And so with 4 G maneuvers online, the Screaming Nimbus, just the CC alone is going to be enough. He will pop it one last second to try and shut down Moon in the air. And the Moonlight Butterfly is going to find up too, but he still needs to get onto the point to try and deny this. But the Screaming Nimbus getting popped now from Tekka Dynasty to clean it all up. That's going to be the 2-0 sweep, both on this map and in the sets.
They are looking so good. And I mean, we saw that earlier, but they're just continuing to. I got to point out too, weirdest like kill feed message that I've seen. It said the butterfly kill on Core Fighter. It's like, oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, you love if somebody can snipe somebody out of the air, a butterfly out of the air with Core Fighter, that would be sick. And Listic actually just shared a Lancer out of the air, or Lancer being used to counter an aerial butterfly earlier, which was sick too. So we're finding all these different counters. That one didn't work out, but I love the idea of it. Regardless, Tekka Dynasty will be moving forward into our top 4 teams, at least guaranteed. And skill issue, well, they were looking good. They just weren't quite able to put it together. They were getting a lot of great picks, but they weren't able to fully, I think, just take advantage of it. And I gotta say, I love the Marsai pick. It was a lot of successful hooks, a lot of kills. It just not enough came from it overall. So I think it was working. I think the lower cooldown on the hook is actually really strong in a coordinated play, but I'm excited to see if maybe more advantage can be taken from it.
Yeah, Melee ended up finding a lot of picks with that Marasai hook, and I love the fact that it is on a lower cooldown. You don't really have the same kind of oomph anymore, having that one-shot potential with the combo, but still, seeing how much value he was able to get off of it, if his team could have just survived a little bit longer. But you can see how space has been created basically by Chaotic consistently, even though he was giving his life for a lot of those kind of back angle plays, he was still creating space for his squad. So Melee, I liked what he did, but ultimately I don't know how well this is going to slot in the current meta right now with just how many shields are in play.
Well, yeah, we'll see for sure. But I'm glad that we got a chance to see it. I'm glad we got a chance to see the new Gundam actually taking a win as well. Of course, that buffed walk speed while aiming is really huge. If you can track well, new Gundam moves really fast while you're ADSing, and it can be actually kind of tough to hit headshots in that strafing speed. But overall, now, like I said, we need one more suit to see every single suit in this tournament, and that's just Mihiru. And that's honestly, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more Mihiru, because that can be a really scary suit in a lot of defensive positions. But the fact that we've seen every other one, as far as I can tell, and almost every other one doing very well, is really sick to me. I am super in love with how the balance is currently, and I think a lot of people are really happy with it as well, especially with Hyperion not being like clearly broken right now. Like, it just seems like it fits in the meta really well. I'm enjoying watching this so much. I just can't explain it.
Yeah, I think it might come down to a little bit of our map pool, right? Because we do have a specific map pool, and 2 of the more popular ones that I think you would play Mahiru on are not in it. So maybe if we swap things around just a little bit, he might have an opportunity to see some light. It feels like it was maybe 2-3 tournaments ago. That was the last time we actually got to see a Mahiru in play.
Yeah, well, especially with some of the buffs, it was like really scary for a little bit, then it was weaker for a bit, now it's a little bit scary again for a bit. So we'll see if it ends up happening. But that does mean that we now have one of our top 4 teams set. That means the Tekka Dynasty will be taking on the winner of the other losers bracket match to see who will be moving forward into our day 2, as that will be, of course, our top 3. I think we're ready here for a break as we set up our next match. It looks like we are. So we're going to send it to that real quick while we set up our final match, I believe, of the day. So we'll see you then. Don't go anywhere.